Hello, football fans. Would you believe it? We're 5 weeks in already, and it was a crazy week 5. It started with a 12-9 game that has people again complain about Thursday night football games, and it has Broncos fans figured out what Seahawks fans continue to deny. Russell Wilson's a god awful quarterback, but don't get me wrong. It's not just Russ. Hackett's a problem too, but at least Denver can fire Hackett. They paid a bunch of money to get Russ. They're stuck with him. But at least Denver has the Avalanche. So they can easily forget about the Broncos and Russell Wilson fucking games up for them, and focus on the reigning defending undisputed Stanley Cup heavyweight champions. But also, it wasn't a good week for these guys either. We were in London for the first time ever. We played the Giants. We had a big lead, and then because of bad coaching, we lost the game. Well, bad coaching, lack of discipline, and David Bakhtiari being a big dumbass. Seriously, Rodgers could have got a good Hail Mary off if that idiot hadn't committed that penalty. I told Packers fans many times, giving all that money to Bakhtiari was a mistake. All he's done is fuck up. But we could have got another receiver. Instead, we were stuck with a big dummy in our offensive line, and Rodgers has nobody to throw the ball to. Real smart. But anyway, so Pittsburgh, oh dear. Oh, they got shelled. They really got shelled. It was Kenny Pickett's first start in the NFL, and it's one he'd like to forget. It was crazy. The game started with the kickoff pitting the Bills down to 2, but that didn't seem to be a problem for Josh Allen. All he did was throw a 98-yard touchdown pass to Gabriel Davis, because everybody does that, right? It was over from that point. It was, oh goodness. But yeah, Pittsburgh's not screwed. They're not. Have you seen the division? It's pretty close, and it's pretty mediocre. And yeah, Sunday Night Football saw Baltimore beat Cincinnati, but that's because Cincinnati tripped all over themselves. So, yeah, there's still hope for the Steelers. They're only 2 games out of first place. That's really nothing. That's nothing. They can make this up. They can make it up. They only have one win in the division. So yeah, the theme for this week. The theme for week 5 seemed to be quarterbacks being incompetent. Let's start with the biggest dummy quarterback in the league, Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is another one who has a great knack for snatching defeat for the jaws of victory, and he did that Sunday. He had a great chance to win the game. He was driving down the field, and then in the end zone, this idiot throws an interception. And before any wannabe white supremacists try to say, well, Washington shouldn't have changed the name, that's why the team sucks, morons. Before any of these people come out with that nonsense, I just want to nip this right in the bud. Washington doesn't have a quarterback. That's why Washington is in the bottom of a revived NFC East. Look at the NFC East. Eagles are still undefeated. A bit more on that later. Giants, that's who we lost to in London. Giants are 4-1. Dallas is 4-1. But the Commanders are 1-4. And you got racist idiots saying they should have kept the old name. There was nothing wrong with it. Yeah. Saying that was the problem. No, your problem is you have an idiot who should be arrested for impersonating an NFL quarterback. Don't believe me? Ask Ron Rivera. He pretty much came out and said it. They asked him, why are the Commanders struggling? One word answer, quarterback. And yet people are on him, and I don't get why. All he did was tell the truth. Carson Wentz is the worst quarterback in the last decade of football. And to me, there's pretty much reeks of racism. You have a Latino coach, the only one in the NFL, telling the truth about how bad his quarterback is and saying he's the reason why the Commanders aren't good, because he is. And people are on his ass saying, why is he throwing Carson Wentz under the bus? He shouldn't do that. Where was that outrage Where was that outrage when Ben McAdoo, that oversized greaseball, where was that outrage when he was unfairly, when he was coaching the Giants, he was unfairly picking on Eli Manning for his own stupidity? He was a lousy coach fucking things up for the Giants. And he, on several occasions, took every chance to bury Eli and blame him for shit that was McAdoo's own fault. And even worse, he benched Eli and ended his Iron Man streak just for reasons. Eli is a Hall of Famer. At least he's going to be. Just like his brother. Eli is a legend. Eli is a two-time Super Bowl champion. Eli beat Tom Brady twice. He survived Lambeau Field in the playoffs twice. What the hell has Carson Wentz done except make Philadelphia better by leaving? And I know I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, but these same people defending Carson Wentz also try to put Carson Wentz over Lamar Jackson. That racist rhetoric that Lamar is a running back pretending to be a quarterback. These same people call Carson Wentz a quarterback even though he hasn't been one his entire career, but dismiss Lamar Jackson because he just happens to look like me and he's multi-talented. Well, he's really a running back. He's not a quarterback. Even though Josh Allen's the same quarterback, but they call him a quarterback. And I like Josh Allen. He's a good quarterback. I regret I didn't draft him on fantasy because he's kicking ass as usual, but that's a whole other story. I mentioned quarterbacks were screwing up this week. Matt Stafford was one of them. He had 3 turnovers in the Rams' loss to Dallas, and it amazes me with Stafford. I still can't believe that he led the league in picks last year, and that's mainly because it only took 17 to lead the league. That tells me passing was getting better that year, because usually 20 or 20 something, maybe 25 leads the league, but nobody threw 28 picks last year in a 17-game season. That's even more amazing. But yeah, he threw 17 picks in 17 games. That ended up leading the league last year. And he's still kind of committing turnovers, having trouble with that. But here's the thing, though. Stafford, thankfully, has one little thing that allows him to get away with it. He has a Super Bowl ring. That Super Bowl ring means credibility. It means, yes, he makes mistakes, but he's done something right. I mean, he won a football game on the second Sunday in February. That alone says, even though he makes a few mistakes, he's not a total incompetent quarterback. Because he's got a ring. And that's a good thing. That is a good thing. That is a good thing. Because that ring, that Super Bowl ring he got does command some respect. But Stafford's got to get it together and stop committing those turnovers because the Rams are free falling. I may be getting a bit hyperbolic when I say free falling, but they're 2-3. This is rare territory for a McVay coached team. He had never been under 500 in any part of any season in his entire time coaching the Rams. This is the second time he's been under 500 now. He was 0-1 when they got shelled in the opening week, and now he's 2-3. But they're not that far out of first place because the NFC West is kind of a cluster. Speaking of the NFC West, this one kind of hurts. What the hell was Kyler Murray doing? So, I wrote a story titled "Black Quarterbacks Continue to Be Disrespected." I mentioned pretty much everything I said about Lamar Jackson. I mentioned that. I also mentioned Kyler Murray because you all know the story. He got this big deal, but they tried to subject him to what was known as the homework clause. Basically, they were ordering him to watch 4 hours of game film, and that was the only way he would earn his pay. And a lot of people thought it was insulting. I thought it was borderline racist because if anyone needs to learn how to play the quarterback, it's guys like Carson Wentz, it's guys like Matt Ryan. They're incompetent, and they need to learn a quarterback. That's why I said Kyler's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC. Then he pulls this. So They were down by 3 against the Eagles, the undefeated Eagles. They had a chance to tie it. They got the field goal range. On second down, Kyler runs the ball. He slides, and then on the next play he spikes it. There's one problem with that. He didn't get the first down. The rule clearly states if you slide. The rule clearly states if you slide, at the very point where you start to slide is where you are officially giving yourself up, and the ball's down there. When he started to slide was 1 yard short of the first down marker. He didn't know that. He really thought he got the first down. It was actually 3rd and 1, and when he spiked it, it became 4th and 1. So they had no choice but to kick the field goal. And they kicked it. It was a 43-yarder. It went wide. So Arizona lost, and yeah. So maybe he needed those 4 hours after all. The Chiefs barely survived. Came back and won a Monday night game against the Raiders. Raiders had a 17-0 lead, but Chiefs came back on them. Travis Kelce scored every touchdown they had. Had 4 touchdowns. He had a hell of a night. But also elsewhere, Houston got their first win of the season, so everybody has a win. Oh, and because of that win, unfortunately, Washington, Detroit, Pittsburgh, yes, sadly them, and the Raiders, they have the worst record of the league, 1-4, because Houston's 1-3-1. Also, we're now 1 game behind in the division because the Bears had a chance to tie the game against the Vikings and force overtime, but their idiot receiver fumbled. You can't trust the Bears to do it. You can't trust the Bears to be. Sorry for starting. You cannot trust the Bears to do anything other than be Aaron Rodgers' bitch. That's. I knew when we lost. I knew when we lost we'd be screwed. You can't trust Bears. The Bears can't even beat an egg. Anyway, so that's my recap of Week 5. Week 6 begins with the Commanders and the Bears. How fitting. So the Bears should win this. They're at home, but watch them somehow lose to Carson Wentz. I wouldn't put it past them. Seriously, the Bears could lose to a Pop Warner team. That's how pathetic they are. But but yeah. So that's Thursday Night Football. It's the first NFC game on Thursday night this week because it was all AFC games this season so far. But yeah, Commanders and Bears. The Packers host the Jets, so we have a bye. The Steelers face the Brady Bucks. That should be interesting. The Rams face the Panthers. Panthers fired Matt Rule. Getting blown out at home by the Niners. That was the last straw. Big main event game. Bills are at Arrowhead to face the Chiefs. That's going to be huge. Also huge, Sunday night game. Cowboys, Eagles. Battle for first place. They say Dak should be back by then. Should be interesting. But yeah, that's going to be a big game. That's on Sunday Night Football. And on Monday Night Football, we get the other half of the AFC West. Because this past Monday, it was Denver, Kansas City. This upcoming Monday game, it's the Chargers and the Broncos. That's going to be an interesting game. So it is. So that's what's in store for us on Week 6. And the first buys go to the Titans, the Raiders, who are licking their chops, the Lions, and the Houston Texans. So they get a few extra moments to enjoy their first win. So that's my recap of Week 5. If you like this video, click the like button, click subscribe. If you want more of my story on Vocal about Week 5, will be in the description below. So check it out when you can. Next time on YouTube, I will recap the Division Series whenever it ends, and then I'll recap Week 6 next Tuesday night. So stay tuned for all of that.